When it comes to winter, but even into the season, we're always asking how far should we hit our clubs? How far should you hit your driver? How far should you on average hit your mid-irons? And how far should you maybe even hit your shorter clubs? Well, today guys, on the next 100, that is exactly what we are going to discuss. In this series, we have gone across the length of the UK, or we certainly have in England and Scotland. Next year, we will head over to Ireland, but we're talking about how far should you hit your clubs, what clubs do you have, and how that is going to affect how far your golf ball goes, and also how your golf ball could affect how far your golf ball goes. It's a big talking point when you get out there with your friends. We all want to say we maybe hit it further than we should, but now we're into the winter, what are you going to expect, or what should you expect to see from your numbers? And that one there, drawing down this par 4 here at Lindrick, which was one of the first courses we played on the next 100. But let's talk about how far this club should go. And guys, if you're new to this channel, then welcome to this YouTube channel. If you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and join us on that journey to 50,000, that would be fantastic. And guys, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, I hope you're enjoying this next 100 series. So we are in the winter, and one big thing here for me, and a certain video that's going to be coming on the channel, is explaining why I am here at Lindrick filming today. But this is one of the golf courses that we played during the next 100, and you will see that by the flyovers on screen now. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and obviously this series has been partnered with Takomo and Seed. Again, affordable direct-to-consumer brands with premium products. So what the money you save on buying their clubs and their golf balls could potentially get you out here playing golf courses like this, like myself and James Robinson did, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. If you head over to James Robinson's channel, we are on the Southern Swing, we are down in Devon. But what should you expect from your clubs going into the winter? Now, if you're a scratch golfer out there watching this, and again I know that is a very small percentage of golfers, then what you should see is that if you're somebody who hits it maybe 280 yards, your drop off potentially is going to be on average down to around about 240 yards, so a 40-yard drop off when it comes to those winter months. And this is not just through your driver, this obviously goes through your irons and even into your shorter clubs. For example, on the last hole I've just hit an 8-iron, where in the summer I normally hit a pitching wedge or a gap wedge. So big drop-offs in distance, so this is something you certainly need to look out for. But what happens, again, drop-off wise, if you're a mid-handicap golfer, if you're a 15 handicap golfer, let's hit another drive and let's talk about that. Now, a lot of people start to tinker with this in the winter. So we get to winter, this is set at 10.5 degrees here with my Takomo Ignis D1. A lot of people think, well, it's obviously not going to be running as much. If I knock that loft down to 9 degrees, I'm going to hit the ball further. And that for me is what I see from a lot of mid-handicap golfers, even single-figure golfers often think, well, I just need to change my loft because obviously if the ball's not running out, if I get that ball flight lower, then it's going to run out a little bit more, have the chance. And this is where it's a little bit of a myth, because obviously if we get a ball flight that is a little bit lower than normal, all we're going to start to see is that flight right there is going to land a little bit shorter, it's not going to carry as far, and it's still going to be affected by those ground conditions. So all I'm going to start to see there is potentially it doesn't go as far as the one that I launched at my normal loft. So all I did there is change a few things at setup to get that ball flight low. But if I now hit a standard shot, it'd be interesting to see where they are down there. Now if I come in, normal tee height, stock shot here, and hit this driver again, we can see those golf balls, both little draws, both on an identical line, and both very similar strikes. It'll be very interesting to see there obviously what they have done, because I'm going to say they might have gone the same distance, and if not, the lower one might have actually gone shorter, so don't mess around. But as we walk down there to those two drives, let's talk about mid-handicap golfers. So obviously if you're off 15, we're going to see just as much of a drop off, a little bit more if anything, but not as big as you would expect. It might be up to 5 yards extra that you lose off your tee shot. So if you're somebody who's hitting it out there a total of 250, that might be down there now just over 200. So that's something where you've really got to think about it. Can you carry over certain things? Do you need to change your approach? But it's just because of those conditions, but it's not because your techniques change, it's not because anything you need to change on the drive is going to help. It's just a case of the weather and the conditions you are playing in. So don't start to tinker. That's the worst thing we can do. How many times I see people start to lose a little bit of distance in the winter, so then they try and get extra speed, and then we start to lose control of that club face. Not what we want. And this is a prime example. Here again, it's fantastic conditions here at Lindrick. It is relatively dry still, even though we've had some weather, and that is exactly what I expected. That is the ball that I hit first off the tee. So that is the one that was a little bit lower. It's obviously landed probably 20-30 yards back. It's taken a little bit of the juice, taken some speed out of it. This is a one that's looked like it's carried past there, so there's probably going to be a mark, and yes, there's a pitch mark right here, so that has pitched past this golf ball here. So stopped pretty quick, but I've used the carry to my advantage to get the ball as far down there as possible. But again, let's talk about how the golf ball is going to affect that as well. And as we know, guys, golf balls can differ. So here we have two different golf balls from Seed. So we have the SD02 and the SDX1. So we can see that the SDX1 is a brand new second generation ball. You can see different alignment aids on that golf ball now, but these are going to have different effects on how they fly in the winter. There's one thing I see from the majority of golfers, and they change to this golf ball right here. So one big thing that I see from a lot of mid-handicap golfers is you're using a two-piece golf ball. Maybe you're using that SD15 that you'll see on screen now. Very similar and compared to a Strixon AD333 on Seed's comparison chart, as you'll see right there. But again, this is where obviously don't change golf ball. If you're somebody who's using a three-piece ball just like one of these SD02s or an SDX1, then don't change, because that's going to affect the ball flight. That's potentially going to get you launching that ball higher. That's going to affect your distance even more so. And then when you come back to the season, you've got to readjust. Here I have an SD15, and we'll certainly see in the ball flight how that does climb. Which is not a bad thing. You can hear that again, a little bit more sound off that face. This is a two-piece golf ball. It's still at the middle of the fairway, but has that gone a total difference to when I now bring in one of the X1 golf balls? So we're going to start to see a different covering on this, a different casing, but what does it do to that distance? Two identical shots. And this driver is certainly impressed. Let's get up there and see what the difference is. And this for me is a clear and obvious thing. Right here you might think, yes, it only looks 10 yards, but 10 yards on top of what you're already potentially losing is not going to help you. So having the right golf ball and sticking with what's the best for you for the winter, instead of maybe trying to save a little bit more money, because after all, these Seed urethane golf balls, the three-piece golf ball, are half price of a Pro V1 and other premium brands. Don't try and maybe save that little bit more, because if that costs you another 10 yards, it's not going to lower your scores. But that might be the perfect golf ball for you in a two-piece golf ball if you have a slower swing speed. Make sure you get that right, because the role could be reversed. So guys, I hope you're enjoying the content, and if you are, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you want to see a few more of these stats videos, so knowing exactly what you should start to expect. Next week we're also talking about your expectations and what you should be doing into the greens. How many times you should be hitting the green, what should you expect compared to a scratch golfer. So these are all things that you need to take into consideration this winter, how you can improve. Is it going to be new golf balls? Is it going to be new golf clubs? Is it going to be technique, or is it going to be a combination of all of those? Big thanks to Takomo and Seed for this series. I hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you again later in the week.